What's up, the internet? It's Kyle. This is episode 5 of News from the Nexus 419, a podcast. This is just Amanda and I getting back to what we do best, talking about the things we're doing, talking about the things here in the store, what we're watching on TV, and just sort of chatting like we do every week. If you're watching this on YouTube or listening to it on Podbean, make sure you tune in every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock for our new episode live on Facebook. The shows go away for a week after that and come back Tuesday mornings, which is when this got published. But on Tuesday nights, you can chime in, you can talk to us, you can have input on what we talk about and what we say, and it gets to be a little more interactive. So, this is episode 5. Make sure you enjoy it, but then tune in later tonight or every Tuesday at 7 o'clock for new episodes of News from the Nexus. What's up, the internet?
You don't warn anybody.
I asked you to let me know when you were ready. You said you were ready. I pressed the button on the keyboard like 9 times. It didn't do anything. And then you start talking some more like you're not ready. So clearly you're not ready.
Because I'm answering your question about why your stuff is messed up.
I don't think you have any idea why my hotkeys don't work.
I don't, but I think it's a problem for another time and not the start of our podcast.
The only time I'm ever going to know is when we go to do it.
I was walking through a parking lot.
This person right here is on my last nerves. Anyhow, welcome into News from the Nexus, a podcast.
Hi, Randy.
Episode 5. Guys, we made it to 5 episodes.
5, I know. Who knew?
There's like 5 of them.
Well, 4 of these. 5 if you count Star Wars.
Right, 1 is Star Wars. But anyhow, so like always, we're gonna, we're gonna do this podcast style. We're gonna do our best to respond to your comments. But this is
Pat, what is that supposed to mean?
This is podcast style, so sometimes we get talking and we'll forget.
That's true.
So, first off, let me remind you how this works. We're live right now on Facebook. You can comment, we can interact with you, but then at midnight tonight, this goes away. It ceases to podcast. It is an X-podcast.
To then re-podcast.
Then, next Tuesday, this podcast becomes re-available.
So we're going to recast the pod.
No, we don't recast anything. Cast is a broadcast. After this, it becomes a streaming thing. It will be available on YouTube.
Yes.
And on Podbean through the Nexus419.com.
Yes. If you aren't subscribed to us on YouTube, there is a link in the Facebook page.
Yes.
So, it's with the rest of our... That's gone. It's with where the rest of our social media stuff is. So our Instagram, so if you're not following us on Instagram, head on over there, follow us there. Our Twitter, follow us over there. And then YouTube is also in there.
Yes.
As well.
So all those things.
It becomes available as a rerun. Yes, Pat. That's a good way of putting it.
Yes. So last week's episode that we did with Pat is now available on Podbean and YouTube, and you should let me know you're going to stand up. I've taken you off the camera. People aren't looking at your junk.
What junk? Scrubs. That's what
the ones in the trunk. Anyhow. That's how this works. The magic. What do you...
I thought I heard something.
She's very jumpy. So, as we start off...
Later today, Pat, it doesn't get much later today. It's 7 o'clock tonight.
Right, Pat. Like, later today is tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh, I should probably take this off. I don't need this on anymore.
No, you don't have to scan your way into any buildings or anything.
Nope.
Okay,
oh,
so we need to recap. What has gone on in the store since we saw you last? This is our first segment every week. We had a great signing with Tony and John from Rocketing Studio.
If you missed it because you were afraid of the rain,
right,
shame on you.
Right, if you didn't come out because it was raining, I'm 3.5 bananas angry just because of you.
Pat, this is your cue to drop bananas.
Right, this is the cue for the bananas emoji from Pat. However, that was a good time.
It was a good time.
We brought in some new comics, which we'll go over later. We've done a whole bunch of new things since then. The store is set up a little differently for the next couple of weeks. while we prepare for our next signing, which we'll talk about later as well.
Yes, we will.
What else has happened in the store, Amanda? Anything of note?
Well, that was like the big thing was we had the signing this past weekend. I'm trying to think what else we've talked about. Oh, we made the big Kevin Eastman announcement.
We did make the big Kevin Eastman announcement.
Right.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm glad you wrote that down because I had forgotten about that. I was going to bring that up later.
No,
we made our big Kevin Eastman announcement. Should we talk about it more now?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, while we prepare to talk more about the Kevin Eastman announcement.
While we prepare.
Because I had forgotten that I was going to do that now.
Oh, okay. He wasn't prepared, guys.
Shock of shocks.
Right. This is my shocked face.
Right. Right. Shock of shocks. I was not prepared to talk about Kevin Eastman. But this is a chance to shout out in the comments there. Your Mike Winnegar.
Yeah, Mike Winnegar. It was here. I saw him earlier. I don't know if he's still here.
Yes.
Are you still here, Mike?
And give shameless promos to Astronomicon, which is where this signing will be taking place.
Yes.
Y'all, this thing got shared around the internet
very quickly.
Twice.
Actually. Yeah.
But
it's as close to viral as Kyle, I think, has ever gone. So.
That's not true.
No.
I have had the flu. So, this is our big Kevin Eastman announcement. We will be participating in a private signing with Kevin Eastman at Astronomicon, facilitated by CBCS and Lockwood's Loot and Astronomicon.
Yep.
We are taking submissions. So, the way that works is if you have something you want signed by Kevin Eastman, you bring it to us.
Yep.
We will do the paperwork. We'll take care of everything. You get the book signed. He will draw a remark sketch on it, which is like a little head sketch.
Do you have a...
I don't. It's over there.
Hold on 1 second. I'll get one.
They can't see you anyway. The remark sketch and the grading for $65. You need to bring that into us by the 5th of February. Hold on. Let me hold it up there. So it'll look like this.
So
signed and remarked.
Yeah, you see the little turtle's little head sketch thing he just does really quickly. That's the remark, and then you can see there's his signature, and then it'll come slabbed like this with the yellow because it'll be a witness signature. It'll say where he signed it. So this one says witness signature Kevin Eastman with sketch, and the date. So this will all be there, and it'll come like this, all graded and real pretty.
Right. You might not have that cover, but...
Right. Unless you have this
cover. In fact, you probably won't have that cover.
Right. But that's what we're
Although
looking at.
Although I do think I have another copy of that cover.
So yeah,
but for $65, that's what you get.
Which is a really good deal when you think about it. You get, a nice little original sketch because, no matter how many times he draws a turtle, they're never going to be the same. And Kevin Eastman signature. So
the deal with this is that all Kevin Eastman submissions need to be paid in advance.
Yes.
That's a big important note I needed to give you guys. For $65, you can get the whole thing taken care of, but you have to pay up front.
Yes.
Just because that's how this particular thing works.
Yes, this is really great for if you can't make it for whatever reason. You have a wedding, you have a funeral, you have something happening.
You have no desire to drive to Michigan.
You've no desire to drive to Michigan, and you want to get something signed.
Right.
We can get that taken care of for you.
But also, and this is something we're going to talk about more later, because it is a thing that's coming up. We have a submission window open now.
Yes, we do.
For Astronomicon submissions. So here's the deal. If you have a book you want to get graded, even if it's not Kevin Eastman, you can bring it in. We'll do a grade screening process. We'll help you determine whether or not it's worth getting graded. We will take it to Astronomicon. We will submit it to CBCS. They will grade it and send it back to us.
Yes.
And then you can come pick it up. The way that works is we'll figure out the value and the cost of what you're going to get graded. You pay half of it up front, and we handle the rest for you. So if you have books you want to send out to get graded, we can handle that for you, and you don't have to worry about filling out paperwork, signing up with CBCS, smelling Cody's beard, looking at all the people, pretending like you know what you're doing. Any of that kind of stuff we'll do for you.
Yeah.
But also, There are a ton of great guests at Astronomicon. Mm-hmm. And in the next few days, we will have price lists for all of their autographs.
Yep.
We do not have them right at the moment. Mm-hmm. But once we have them, we will be opening up the window to bring in things you would like signed by members of their guest list.
Yes.
So that you can, I want to get a thing signed by the Boogeyman from WWE.
So, to bring it all back around to like what's been happening, if you were one of the 2 people who braved the rain and bought
odd... It was more than that.
Okay, it was true. It was more than 2 people. I'm just being, rude. If you have a copy of the Odd Tales from the Curio Shop that's signed by Tony, you can bring it to us, and we will have it signed by Brian O'Halloran for you.
Yes. Right. So if you're not going to make it to Astronomicon, we are your source to get things signed, get things graded if it needs to be graded, all of that kind of stuff, and save you...
waiting in line.
Well, but like I said, if you're not planning to go to Astro, we're helping with that.
We are.
If you're planning to go to Astro, let us know, and we will cue you in on some of the things to be looking out for, some of the things you can be doing, some of the other fun vendors to check out, where good pizza is.
It's true.
There's great pizza. Where you can go for all-you-can-eat crab legs for $20 if you're not scared of diseases.
It's true. We did
things like that. That's our little Astronomicon plug.
Yeah, which will probably come again later.
Yes.
But we're gonna just do it real quick, a little bit up front because of our Eastman announcement. So.
Yes, that is our big announcement, the Eastman announcement. Hey, what's up, Tyson? What up, Andrew? All right. Next thing's next.
Yes.
Amanda's favorite segment.
It's true.
This is the What Are We Watching segment. And the interesting thing about the What Are We Watching segment is that, we have these things that we watch every week together or separate, and then we have what you should be watching and that kind of stuff. So this, we've been watching The West Wing.
Yep,
we're not really going to talk about that because there's not really time to talk about. No, we're still doing that.
Nothing new has really shook me.
We've been watching the Jeff Goldblum show on Disney Plus, which we're kind of over.
Yeah.
You can only watch Jeff Goldblum be extra so much.
It's true.
The next thing, though, is there were a bunch of killer trailers that came out.
Well, have you watched anything beside those before we get into the trailers?
No.
So, beside The West Wing and what we're watching the other day, that's all you've watched?
Yes.
Okay. So, I'm alone in that. Okay.
Well, I've been falling asleep to Parks and Recreation and Sports Night, but yeah, really the only things I've been watching is The West Wing and...
With me, okay.
No, separately from you.
Oh, with me and separately from me.
Yes, I'm way further ahead than you.
Because we move slow. It's fine. Okay.
Anyhow.
I was just curious because, I've finished season 2 of You. I watched the docuseries The Don't F With Cats. So that's what I've been at this week. But I know But one of the things I watched, which will come up later, but I finally watched Joker. So we can talk
We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
About how it wasn't really about the Joker. But...
So trailers. We've had a lot of trailers.
So many trailers.
I know, there's 3 since we last did this.
Well, and really 4 because I don't generally watch trailers, so I watched 4.
Yeah. Well, we both watched 1 and 2 of Birds of Prey.
So yes, Birds of Prey and the incredibly long, overworded title of the Harley Quinn film.
Yeah.
It's Birds of Prey and the Fabulous Emancipation of Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
No. What that's called is being needlessly verbose, okay? Verbose means using too many words when you can really only use one.
Like Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey?
Or Birds of Prey!
Well, but she's not a bird of prey, is she?
They can make her one in the movie. DC sucks bad enough in the movies department that they could do what they want and nobody really gonna care and just make a movie that's not awful.
Okay.
But no, it's needlessly verbose title of the Harley Quinn film. The first trailer looked real good.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, okay, I can get behind this trailer. I can get behind this movie because of this trailer.
Yeah.
Then the second trailer happened. I'm like, nope, never mind.
Yeah. The second trailer is definitely lacking.
Yeah.
The first trailer of the 2 full-length Birds of Prey trailers that we've gotten. The first one is definitely a much better, more entertaining trailer. But for me, and because I made a note of it because I have to mention it, is I just love that in our full-length trailer we have 2 really amazing hyena moments. Because I love Harley Quinn and her hyenas.
Except that the hyena doesn't laugh like a hyena. I'm just going to put that out there. It's got a human laugh, and it's strange.
What does an actual real-life hyena sound like?
I don't know, but I'm sure we could go to the zoo and ask. And I'm sure it doesn't sound like a dude who smoked a pack a day for 30 years.
I bet you it's
all
a little
I'm saying.
closer than you think.
All I'm saying.
I mean, if anyone has a link to an actual hyena laugh, maybe drop it in because that might be, entertaining. I'd like to see that.
But so we had the hyenas. We had
I love the hyenas.
My big problem is Margot Robbie's accent as Harley Quinn.
Oh yeah, it's always been a problem.
It was strong in the first trailer when it's just her acting as Harley Quinn, but it's when she's doing this voiceover that isn't part of the film. It's just trailer stuff.
Yeah.
That she loses the accent properly. It's you start to hear the British accent come through.
Yeah.
That isn't what you want. You want her to sound like she should be singing Adelaide's Lament and Guys and Dolls. Not, someone who's trying to sound like a ditzy New York mob daughter while actually having a British accent.
Right. But that was always my biggest problem with her in Suicide Squad, was that she couldn't maintain the accent. And I'm fine with if you want to, just not do it with the accent.
Yeah.
Because you can reasonably make an argument that she's moved around, she's been around, she's lost some of the... I mean, it happens.
Sure.
People lose and gain accents all the time. So you can reasonably make an argument that she's lost it somehow if you can't do it. My other big complaint about Suicide Squad, which seems to be, at least with the trailers that we've seen, a little bit more alleviated, was that she only felt truly like Harley Quinn when she was interacting with Jared Leto's Joker.
Okay. Just as a reminder, guys, if you have thoughts, opinions, or feelings about what we're talking about, please comment.
Yeah, please let us know.
We're going to try and respond to your comments and say things. What's up, Imani? We're going to try and respond to your comments and talk about these things here during the podcast.
We want it to be kind of a dialogue amongst us all.
Right. If you're listening to this later on Podbean or on YouTube, obviously we can't respond to your comments.
Right.
But
we'll respond later when you comment on the YouTube video. We'll get that notification. So.
Yeah, it's true. All right. So the next one was New Mutants.
Yeah, let's talk New Mutants.
New Mutants.
Yeah.
Guys.
I feel like you're more hyped about this movie than I am.
I really kind of looking at it again today, long for the old Mutants.
Okay.
However, I can get down with some scary New Mutants movie.
Yeah.
This movie seems like it's going to be more of a horror film than a straight up superhero franchise.
I'm glad that you picked up on that too, because that was one of the things I noted, was that it has this darker vibe.
It does. It has a ridiculously dark vibe, which is cool because so many movies since Disney has gotten the
Randy did you just send a hyena laughing?
Anyhow, since Disney has gotten a hold of the Marvel franchises, less and less of them are the serious kind of franchises you want.
Yes, he did.
Okay, give me your phone.
Let me turn it up.
Anyhow, less and less of them have the serious vibe you expect. Less of them have the feel you expect. Which is fine, and it's good. They've been great. But I like the fact that the New Mutants, which has always been a little darker, feels a little darker. I don't love the fact that they're not out and out honoring the New Mutant saga, the New Mutant story.
Well, are they?
I feel like they're a little bit New Mutants, a little bit Weapon X, which would be fine, except I would have loved to have seen Weapon X. Just throwing that out there.
Okay.
Tiny baby Wolverine would have been great.
Well, we only have a little bit to go off of because we only have this trailer. So we'll see. kind of what comes of it.
Right.
But like, yay for Maisie Williams doing something other than Game of Thrones.
Is that the girl from Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
Yes, she looked good in it.
She does look really good, and I like that she's kind of the monstery one of the group.
And there was the one that was like, I killed 17 men.
She was amazing.
Right, like, okay. I get behind that.
Right, like I love how she's just like, I just did this
thing. The guy who's like, I burnt my girlfriend, and then there's like this burnt hand reaching up to tap him on the back in the pool. Like, what is that?
And then also, Jonathan from Stranger Things. So we have two pretty great, if you watch other nerd shows, two actors.
Which one is Jonathan? Is he the one with the hat?
With the camera.
No, in the movie, in the trailer.
Oh, I forget. He was the older boy. I don't think the one that burned the girlfriend, though. I don't remember.
Right, there was the one with the big, like, the nice hair, and then there was the boy who wore the hat.
He might have been the boy in the hat, then.
Okay.
Because he really doesn't have particularly nice hair. But
I don't know. Like, I don't know who he is in general, so I can only relate him to this New Mutants trailer.
Got it. So I have the hyena video. Do you want to hear
All right,
it?
let's see what a hyena actually sounds like. I'm guessing it doesn't sound like a person with COPD.
Kinda.
No, it doesn't.
That's the one actually laughing.
Now that is skinny,
Because the one in Harley Quinn's like...
This one started out that way.
No, it didn't. It was much higher.
But it started low and then got higher. Listen. Here, we're going to do it again.
No, it just starts off... All right. So the last trailer we watched...
Okay, I need to turn down my sign now.
You know who the laugh sounds like? It sounds like Peter Griffin. Meg. Anyway.
All right. So, last trailer.
Yeah, she is the werewolf one, Monty. Last trailer, though, is Morbius.
Yeah, that just dropped yesterday.
The living vampire.
Yeah.
Starring your Jared Leto as classic Jared Leto. Looks like he's about to die, because he is about to die.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, he's cut.
Yeah.
Both literally and genetically.
Yes, Josh, if you haven't watched Stranger Things, then you need to watch it.
Yes. Josh hasn't been on in a while. Hi, Josh.
I know.
Josh hasn't been on one of our streams in a while.
I know. But yeah, so Morbius.
Yes. So this is the trailer I'm now officially most hyped for.
Yeah.
Because this one to me feels truest to a comic in a long time.
Okay.
While the Morbius the Living Vampire saga or story might not be truly reflected in the trailer and what they tell, it does seem to be most like the character from the books, especially when you get into the later incarnations where he's running around with Ghost Rider and the Spirits of Vengeance things.
Okay.
You know, the Midnight Suns kind of story. And these kind of things, it feels like the character. Now, I'm interested to see how they tell the origin story, how they tell all that kind of stuff, but to me, it feels like the most accurate portrayal of the character without sacrificing story to portray the character properly.
Well, that's always kind of your thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you're always like, oh, be the books. But also like with Shazam, it really wasn't a book based on a book in particular. It was more based off of the charter that is Shazam.
Right.
And the
It was an honest
that.
portrayal of the character.
So
and my thing is, and this is what I mean by that when I say be the books or be nothing, is I want you to tell the stories the books have told. If you're going to come to me and say, we're doing Civil War, I want you to tell the Civil War story, not something else.
Okay.
If you're going to come to me and say, we're going to do Black Panther, I want you to tell the Black Panther story and not something else that you've made up. I want you to be honest to the character. And the thing about Shazam is they told the Shazam story. They didn't make up something new, but they told it in a way that was maybe a little divergent from the book. but that made it
I know. Did you see that from Imani?
yeah. Anyhow, I want them to tell the story, even if it's a little divergent from the book. I want you to tell the honest stories. So they told the story of how Shazam got his powers.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That was no different from the book. Mm-hmm. They told the story of how Billy Batson uses his powers as Shazam. That's no different from the book. They've been honest to the character, and if they're telling a new story, they're telling a new story. But they've been honest to the background and the history. Okay. And so with Morbius, I feel like that's true.
Yeah. I'm really curious, because we saw Michael Keaton at the end of the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
So is this Michael Keaton as the Vulture?
Yep.
Okay, so we know it's linked to the Spider-Verse thing that they're doing? Okay, because that was one of my questions.
I don't think you can recast Michael Keaton as a villain.
Okay.
In a Marvel movie at this point. He is who he is.
Mm-hmm.
You want to bring him back as Batman, that's fine. But
you can't have him be
but
something
you can't
else
have
in
him
the
be
Marvel universe.
anything other than Vulture in the Marvel universe now.
Okay. That's fair. I just wanted to know, like, you know, what did we think based off of that? Mm-hmm. And then I know I said this to you after we watched the Morbius trailer, but I like this role for Jared Leto a lot more than I liked the Joker.
Mario, you're wrong. I think you're wrong.
I mean, I would like a Gambit, but like, it's got to be right, and I don't know that they have it yet.
Hold on, we need to deal with something.
What?
Josh Resch, Hobbs and Shaw was actually called The Rock Gets His Whole Family SAG Cards. Okay, that's all that movie was. We're gonna move on from there. But Mario says they need to stop playing around and get Gambit back in motion to be a movie. Wrong.
I mean...
Wrong. Gambit needs to be a show.
Gambit could be a show. But I want a good Gambit in a movie first.
No.
Give me a
You don't want Gambit in a movie. Because you're not going to be able to use Gambit in a movie.
That's true.
His powers aren't conducive to giant screens.
I mean, I don't know.
You need him in a show where it's, you know, the Gambit and Rogue stories.
I mean...
Where it's a little bit more like this, you know, and it's Gambit doing his thing. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's a little bit less grandiose. It's a little bit more of a spy thriller feel.
Okay. I can get behind that. I mean, anything that puts Rogue and Gambit together, though, for me is like a win.
Yeah.
So.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, Rogue and Gambit for a lot of people would be a big win.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what that does? Introduces the X-Men to the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Hey, Disney Plus.
But can we talk about something? Because you mentioned the Joker, and Jared Leto is the Joker. I had a Joker thought.
Okay.
While watching this trailer, and that's Jared Leto versus Heath Ledger.
Uh-huh.
And here's here's my Jared Leto conundrum.
Yes.
Jared Leto is very good in movies.
Yeah.
He was great in Dallas Buyers Club, but in Dallas Buyers Club, he almost killed himself.
Oh, yeah.
Getting ready for Dallas Buyers Club.
But that movie is, I mean, it's an amazing movie, and he is so good. Like, he deserved every bit of his Oscar for that.
You know, he was so good in that movie, but he's also, he has this chameleon type way about him where he changes his body a lot, he changes his look a lot, he's very method, and the problem I have is that in this industry, especially with superhero movies, that doesn't go well because these characters you're playing are so broken. They're not meant to be delved into in that kind of depth.
Well, yeah.
At least, you know, you're not supposed to be the Joker, which is what happened to Heath Ledger.
A little bit, yeah.
You know, you're not supposed to be Mr. Megorium, which is what happened to Heath Ledger. Jared Leto... Dr. Parnassus.
So, yeah, it was the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus. What he did was his last film.
I knew it was something Emporium or, you know, I knew it ended in an IUM.
So you just went and they just made something up.
No, it was Dr. Megorium's Wonder Emporium. It was a different movie.
Yeah.
But I couldn't remember if, you know, I knew there was a word that ended in IUM and that was the only one I could remember.
Okay.
But
Daniel Day-Lewis does that too.
But Daniel Day-Lewis had to retire.
Well, yeah, I was to say Lincoln, I think, did take a toll.
That's what I'm saying. It's, Daniel Day-Lewis had to retire. Did the screen freeze? Because my screen froze. Anyhow, right as I'm itching my beard, too.
Always throw Rogue in there that fast, Josh. If you're doing Gambit, you got to do Rogue.
So...
And I like what, just to really quickly throw it back to what Amani said, was that he really liked the Morbius trailer because for him, he's never read Morbius and it made him want to read more. And I think that is always a great thing that these movies can do.
Right. But my question is, and this is my concern, this is why I bring this up, is how many of these movies can we do? You see in the trailer the way Jared Leto, and I don't know how much of that was CGI.
Right.
I don't know how much of that was faked. I don't know how much of the being ripped was fake. I don't know any of that.
We don't know anything yet, really.
But knowing what I know about Jared Leto and knowing his method, I tend to think that he let himself get real beat down.
Yeah.
Mario, that wasn't what did it, man. But he let himself get real beat down to play Michael Morbius, and then he goes through his transformation into Morbius the Living Vampire, and it all changes. And what kind of toll does that take on an actor? What kind of toll does that take on a community watching that movie? It's what worries me about the Moon Knight movie.
Yeah.
Moon Knight is the Marvel character with the most serious mental health issues, except for maybe Legion. And how many of these episodes, how many of these movies can you do before it takes too much of a toll on the fan base?
Yeah.
Before it takes too much of a toll on the actors. And to me, the answer is you gotta be real limited, or you've gotta spread them way out. It isn't like he's playing T'Challa. And I imagine that role has its challenges, all the action and all the adventure stuff, but I don't think it's as heavy mentally and physically as what you see Jared Leto or Heath Ledger in his role as the Joker go through. And so we come back to the Joker.
Yes.
The movie The Joker that was done by Joaquin Phoenix, or Joaquin, depending on how you say it, the least good of the Phoenix brothers.
Wow. The shade you just threw.
He would tell you that River was a better actor.
Oh, yeah, but River is no longer here. He rest in peace.
Right. I'm just saying, the least good of the Phoenix brothers.
He's the only one we've had for the longest, so we gotta...
And that's still a pretty high bar.
It's true.
I'm just saying.
He has gotten a little weird in his old age, I will.
Who, Joaquin?
Yeah. Yeah, I think really ever since he really inhabited Johnny Cash, he's kind of been a little...
Yeah.
A little off.
Well, and then he did that next movie where he was the rapper.
Yeah.
That was weird, where he grew the beard. Yeah. But, so my contention has been, since that movie came out, that it's not actually about the Joker. And I believe, and I'm a believer in the three Jokers theory. So is it possible it's about a Joker? Maybe. But it's not a Batman movie, and it's not about the Joker, and that's what they wanted to cash in on.
Oh, they very much, I think that movie doesn't make the amount of money it made as quickly as it made it if you don't tie it to something popular in pop culture, which is superheroes and Batman. So because you call it Joker and you give him kind of that Joker look, they definitely don't make as much money off of this movie without that. I think they definitely are cashing in on the superhero Batman fandom.
All right, you watched it for the first time.
Yes.
I am still boycotting.
Okay.
So give me your thoughts on it.
It's very right. It's not a Batman movie. Batman is not in it. Bruce Wayne is briefly.
Thomas Wayne is in it.
Thomas Wayne is in it more than his son, but there is mention of Bruce. There is some interaction with Bruce. But it's very little for a movie that's, I think it's like a 2.5 hour movie. 2 hour movie. I was to say, I think you could probably give everything Bruce in less than 5 minutes in this movie. So he's this teeny tiny little portion of it. So definitely don't go thinking this is a comic book movie, because it really isn't. It's taking something that we know, which is the Joker character, and it's definitely putting it on its head. I enjoyed the movie. It was hard for me to watch because I was very sad watching it for a lot of it, especially because it's a movie about mental health more so than anything. It's a movie about what happens when you let somebody with serious mental health problems slip through the cracks. So it can be very sad, and it can be very, triggering for somebody. So I definitely want people use caution if you haven't seen it yet.
It's not the Killing Joke done without graphic detail, Josh.
No.
It's nowhere near the Killing Joke. Hi, Drina.
No, because there is no chemical spill. It's not a man desperate to take care of his wife and unborn child that the Killing Joke origin story is. It is a descent into madness.
Right.
And it's an important movie, I think. I think it's something people should watch. I think the themes in it are important. But it's not a comic book movie.
It's Josh. It's We Didn't Start the Fire. It's by Billy Joel, and no, it doesn't fit. But let's talk about this. You mentioned it's an important movie. It got a ton of Oscar noms.
It did. I don't know that it should, but because I don't know that it's a Best Picture movie. But I think, like I said, it is important work.
We wanted to talk about in our next thing that we had on our list to talk about. We wanted to talk about the Oscars.
Yes.
And I have a very specific angle that I want to come at this from. But let's first talk about the Oscars, because I saw another story that just makes my heart all warm and fuzzy.
What was this heartwarming story?
John Williams now leads the world ever in Oscar nominations with his nomination for the score of Star Wars: The Rise of the Skywalker, or Rise of Skywalker, or The Rise of the Skywalker, depending on how triggered you want to make Amanda.
Oh, jeez.
But I think it's great. John Williams has 52 Oscar nominations. It's more than anybody.
Well, he is a crazy man when it comes to composing.
Genius.
He's a genius, and sometimes genius appears crazy.
Well, so you could also call him the Jesus of film composition.
He really could be.
I introduced Amanda to maybe my favorite film score composer last night.
Yeah.
Frank Zappa.
Yeah.
Who isn't really a film score composer. He's just a stoner. But...
that's a weird tunnel to go down. Like, if you want to rabbit hole something later, rabbit hole Frank Zappa.
But, no, I wanted to approach this, the Oscars versus the Eisners.
Okay.
And for those of you who don't know, because you live in some sort of cloud city somewhere, or bubble, or cave, the Oscars are the awards for the best movie of the year.
Yes.
The Eisners are the awards for the best comics of the year. And this is the thing I've noticed, especially after this year's Oscars. But I've been noticing it for a while, is that the Oscars tend to go to the movies, the Oscar noms tend to go to the movies that you hear everyone talking about on social media.
Yeah.
The movies that people are most hyped about. So the Best Picture nominees this year include The Irishman, which when that thing hit, every freaking person on my Facebook was talking about that movie. The Joker.
I was to say, it is just Joker.
Whatever.
But the Joker movie, yes.
The Joker film. A Wedding Story, which is the one with
Adam Driver.
Kylo
Ren.
Kylo Ren, and who else? There's somebody else in it.
I forget who the other one is. It
Scarlett Johansson?
Yeah, I was to say, is it ScarJo?
That everyone was talking about. Two Netflix movies.
Netflix originals, which is
Two
amazing.
Popes, which was so hot, which was such a big deal. These movies that people are talking about and are so hyped up about. And then I look at the Eisner nominations from last year. And it's kind of the opposite. Josh Resch, The Irishman is great, but carve out like 3 whole days. Because it takes a while and you can't just sit and watch it and understand it. You got to watch it and then watch it again and then watch it again, or you got to watch it in parts.
Okay.
It's because it's like 8 hours long.
Oh,
it's
is it really?
Long. There's a reason it's on Netflix and not in regular theaters.
Okay.
Okay. So the Oscars are about what's real popular. The Eisners are not.
See, no, I don't know that that's always been true about I feel like that may have been just the shift with social media that the Oscars has taken, because I can remember a time when I'd never heard of an Oscar-nominated film for Best Picture.
I'm getting there.
Okay.
So what it is it used to be, what you'd see is you would see these huge actors and huge directors put out these artsy movies to win an Oscar nomination. The joke was Robin Williams would grow a beard and win an Oscar. Quentin Tarantino would write a script that was a love story to cinema and win an Oscar. Mm-hmm. You know, Marty Scorsese would put together an epic and win an Oscar. And that's still true. You still have Oscar movies. For instance, it didn't get nominated for anything, but the Ed Norton movie this year about the autistic guy who investigates the killer of his boss, that's an Oscar movie. They're trying to get Oscar nominations. They're trying to get for-year considerations, and that still happens a lot, like in the animated categories. Because like Obama has a short film or an animated film that they produced, something like that, nominated. So there's still some of that, and it's stuff you've never heard of. But more and more of the big categories are going more to these movies that are popular. And it's not that the movies themselves are changing. It's not social media. It's that I think what's happening is that good is good.
Yeah.
Good is not something that you do just to win an award. It's you have to compete with Netflix and Hulu and Disney Plus. It used to be all you had to do was compete with the other movies that came out this year. Now you've got to compete with all these platforms as well. So the level of filmmaking and the level of screenwriting has gone way up. But it's becoming more and more about what's popular. And I think less and less about cinema achievement. Whereas the Eisners, and I'm a big Eisner fan. I try and read every Eisner nominee every year. Which is they're the awards for the best comics. Some past winners have been Saga, Daredevil, Why the Last Man. There were, Bone won an Eisner. Neil Gaiman won an Eisner with Sandman. Some of these things, and the Eisners have always been about achievement in comics. They've always been about telling the best comic story. And I wonder if maybe we're forgetting that when it comes to the popular media. You know, it used to be that you'd win a Grammy and it was about achievement in record making. Not necessarily just about how many weeks did you spend at the top of the Billboard hits and did you beat Katy Perry.
Right.
And so my question is, and this is what I don't know, and this is what I'm working out, do Oscar movies matter anymore?
I think they
because, can. And this is what I mean. Eisner books, by and large, don't move the needle in the comic book industry. When it's Daredevil, of course it does. When it's something like Saga, of course it does. When it's The Walking Dead, of course it does. But those are books that are going to sell big anyway. When it's something like Bone or some of these smaller titles, they don't really move the needle. So do Oscar movies matter? Because I'll tell you, my favorite movie this year was Endgame.
Really?
I saw a lot of bad movies this year. I mean, it's my favorite movie that could compete for an Oscar nomination.
That's interesting.
I mean,
I would have honestly put money that you were going to say Star Wars was your favorite movie this year.
No.
But just because
I know... Because Star Wars isn't going to get an Oscar nomination. It came out too late.
No, it didn't.
It technically qualified, but it wasn't around long enough. Like, a lot of those ballots had already been sent in by the time Star Wars came out.
Except for 1917 is nominated for a Best Picture, and that came out in a limited release.
Before Star Wars.
Did it come out before?
Yeah, it came out at Sundance.
Yeah, but I don't think it has to be. I thought there's a weird rule about where it has to be in theaters and stuff. And I know they just talked about it.
But it came out like 1917 was winning awards like at Cannes and Sundance and Toronto and all these other places well before it came out in theaters.
Right.
So when it's released is a thing, but Star Wars doesn't get any of that.
Okay. Except for it is because it got John Williams his.
Right, but it doesn't get like Best Picture.
Okay.
Kind of consideration.
Okay.
But I guess my question is do Oscar movies matter, or should we instead just be focused on what we like?
No, I think Oscar movies matter, and I think they should matter.
Okay.
Because the thing is, so there's a couple movies that are on the list for Best Picture this year, and that's the one I like them. I mean, we could get into all the other stuff that are really kind of cool, but like, let's talk about the big category. It's the Best Picture. It's the one that everyone really kind of gets excited about, I guess. It's the one they save for the end of the night.
It's the one that's cutting into the news.
Yeah, exactly. There's a couple movies on there that I had not heard of. Now, I heard about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which is already on my list to watch, because I think you had recommended it to me.
So good.
You were the one we watched the trailer for 1917 together, and you were telling me.
Haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet either. I'd like to.
Right, and that's why that wasn't my pick.
But that was one that we had kind of like got hyped up for. But what is it? Parasite? I had no idea what this movie was about.
I have a screener of it at home.
Okay, well, then I would like to watch it, because this might be the year. I was gonna try and watch all of because 2 of them are on Netflix, and I'd been meaning to anyway. So I was like, this is the year I'm gonna watch all the Best Picture nominees. And then I went, well, I can't get these 2 because they're only showing in Ann Arbor like twice a day.
Parasite is going to win the Independent Spirit Award for Best Picture.
Okay. But there's another one that's the World War II satire movie. I forget what it's called, because I looked it up.
Oh, I'm going to blank on it.
Yeah, but it's one of the other ones. And I think it's when it can draw attention to movies like that kind of are kind of falling and slipping past people's radar, because everyone was so excited about Joker. And everyone was so, like, I saw all kinds of stuff about The Marriage Story. And Irishman and like things like that, because we're all so crazy about these ones that are obviously achievements in filmmaking. They are wonderful movies, but there's now these movies that I want to seek out and I want to watch because I had no idea about them, and I'm like, oh, but that sounds like okay. Sure. I want to watch that. So I think they can be, especially as long as they keep slipping in those ones that we don't hear about.
Right. And so my alternative, this was my pitch.
Okay.
This is what I was gonna pitch to everyone.
You're pitching something.
My alternative is, if you get the IFC network, watch the Independent Spirit Awards.
Okay.
The Independent Spirit Awards are put on by Film Independent, a board organization of which I'm the member. But anybody can be a member if you want to spend $60 a year. Okay. But you get to see independent movies. You can get screeners of independent movies, but then you vote on a lot of the same categories as the Oscars, but the rules for qualifying are way less. Okay. You have to make the movie for less than $2 million. You have to this, that, and the other thing, and it has to be independent. Okay. It can't be distributed by any major studios or this kind of thing.
So most of the Best Pictures and then kind of get
like the last one that really, so last year, 2 Billboards Outside Ealing, Missouri was, both. But the last one that really did it like that, where it was Best Picture at the Oscars, Best Picture Independent Film, Independent Spirit, was 127 Hours.
Oh, yeah, I remember that movie.
The one where
I watched, honestly, because it won the Oscar.
Jojo Rabbit.
Thank you. Yes. Hi, Jerry. But yeah, so like that one, I'd never heard of that movie.
Right.
And now that's a movie that I want to seek out. Like, I'm going to keep that movie in the back of my mind.
Right.
Or I'm going to write it down somewhere, and I'm going to come across and be like, oh, I wonder if this has hit a streaming service yet. Or, can I get this? Can I buy this?
On Amazon.
On Amazon for. a few bucks. Can I, so that's one that I'm going to seek out now because it was nominated.
Right. So, I mean, like I said, I like the Independent Spirit Awards because to me it feels like the Eisners. It feels like the Inkwell Awards. It feels like the different comic awards that we get, where it's really celebrating creation in comics and not necessarily what's popular or what's got the biggest stars in it that nobody's heard of, or that kind of thing, which is what happens at the Oscars.
Yeah.
So
there is a level of the Oscars as a production now in and of itself. Like it really is kind of its own. But it has a legacy. And I was just saying, I mean, name me one winner of Best Picture that, wasn't an actual really good film worth taking the time to sit down and watch.
La La Land.
You didn't like La La Land?
I didn't like La La Land at all.
Okay.
That's
one, fair.
I'll
I
be
haven't
honest,
actually seen it.
Can't really stand Gone with the Wind.
Don't you be that guy.
I get why it's great, but
I love Gone with the Wind because
I like the one line,
Frankly, my dear.
Right.
Okay.
I like lines about not giving dams. But
I don't know. Rhett Butler in that movie.
I didn't like The Artist.
Okay. I mean, but that's fair because it's it mainly was silent.
That movie was weird.
Well, because it was mainly a silent movie that eventually transitioned into talking, very much like the whole story does, where the silent actors are making the transition to talkies. And so it was an art piece because it was a silent movie. It's one I actually haven't watched it yet.
The dog is the best thing in it, and it's just because it reminds me of Eddie from Frasier.
I know I'll like it. I know I will. But it's just one of those, because it's a silent movie, I just haven't found the right time to sit down and watch it. Because I'm very much a person who is of my time in that I do other things while I watch. I'll sit down and watch a movie, and I'll get 45 minutes into it, and then I'll get a notification on Snapchat or something, and that's the Snapchat.
We're watching The West Wing, and she spends most of the time watching her phone.
Yeah, I'm playing mindless stuff.
Yeah, she's watching her phone, and not one of the greatest television shows ever produced by humans.
But I'm watching it. I'm hearing it. I know what's happening.
You're not really watching if you're playing on your phone. Just saying.
Okay. You play also on your...
I've seen it 95 times. All right. So now that we're done with that, let's move on to what's up next at the store here. So we talked kind of about this deal here.
Well, let's do it chronologically.
Well, we're going to do this. We talked about this already. Our Kevin Eastman shindig and shebang. If you weren't here earlier, we're participating in a private signing at Astronomicon with Kevin Eastman. If you have anything that Kevin Eastman has done and you would like for him to sign it,
yes.
You can bring it to us. We will take care of that for you. Get it to him. Get it signed. Get it graded. You'll get a signature and a remark sketch for $65.
So, if you want to see that again.
You're going to make me do that again.
I am going to make you do it again.
Transition.
This is a signature.
Right. And a remark sketch.
It all comes graded like this. Yellow band, because it'll be a witness signature.
Yep,
boom.
for $65.
$65.
Submissions are due by the 5th of February.
Yes.
And they have to be prepaid.
Yes, only the Kevin Eastman ones have to be paid in full prior to.
Right. Anything else you want us to take to CBC or to get submitted to CBCS while we're at Astronomicon? You can start bringing in now. Those we will figure out on a case-by-case basis. You owe 50% up front, and you pay the rest when it comes in. We will also be taking other autograph submissions for CBCS, things we can go and get signed for you.
Yeah.
All right. All right, Mario.
We can get it done.
Yeah, we can probably get that handled.
It probably won't be part of the...
I have to get a price for you, Mario.
Yeah.
All right. So the next thing is Saturday, January 25th.
Yes, so less than 2 weeks from today.
Right, a week from this coming Saturday.
Yes.
Celebrating a decade of darkness, we have our New Year, new feet. See, this is why I wanted to change the name. I knew I couldn't say it.
New Year, New Fear.
New Year, New Fear event. So it's Dirk Manning. Dirk Manning coming in, celebrating a decade of Nightmare World being in print continuously. It's also his birthday, so there will be cake and ice cream available. That's 1 to 5, the January 25th. But also with him,
the more important portion,
person, yes, is Isabella Christiana. Isabella is a recent high school graduate from Rossford. She has her first published work out.
Yep.
It's actually a story in Cafe Macabre.
Yep.
Which is a horror and scary story anthology with accompanying art. Every bit of this book was done by women. If you had a Y chromosome, you didn't get to work on it.
That's kind of fair, yeah.
So, she will be here from 1 to 5 as well.
Yes.
That is coming up January 25th. What am I forgetting?
Those are the big things. That's sort of what's coming up. Other than, Astro, but that ties into our Kevin Eastman. We're going. We're going to be there.
Right.
That is that's 3 weeks from Saturday.
3 weeks from Saturday.
Yep. So that's being in February. So Astro, it's Isabella and Dirk. A week from Saturday, and I think that's really it for kind of what we have upcoming.
Right.
That we've announced. More of stuff will always be coming, obviously, but...
Right. Now, we have some things we want to show you. We got some new stuff in.
Yeah.
We got some stuff back from that we had sent out to be graded, and we got some new books in that you may want to check out. Mm-hmm. So we thought we would show those to you here at the end.
Yeah, real quick, before we get into
yes,
some questions and answers. So think of questions.
Marvel 2-in-1, number 37, The Thing, and Daredevil's alter ego, Matt Murdock, attorney at law. Spider-Man vs. Wolverine. This is the death of Ned Leeds. It's a one-shot. Mighty Thor 339. This is the third Beta Ray Bill, which, if you've heard, that's one of the characters that's rumored to perhaps be Batman in Thor, or Christian Bale in Thor. You know Christian Bale's going to be in Thor?
Oh, okay.
Rumor has it that one of the characters he could be is Beta Ray Bill. This is the origin of Beta Ray Bill's hammer, Stormbreaker. It's also its first appearance. This is the third Beta Ray Bill.
Oh, Peapod is back. He left. He was here, and then he left, and now he's back.
Uncanny X-Men 150. This is Magneto appears, and Cyclops rejoins the team. We had 2 copies of that. Alpha Flight number 1. This is the origin of Alpha Flight. This is the first Puck and first Mariana. This is the direct edition of Alpha Flight 1. Spawn number 1. This is the first Spawn, Al Simmons, a.k.a. Jamie Foxx in the newer movie that's coming sometime in the future.
Yeah, I was going to say.
The Powers of the Warlock. Number 8. Adam Warlock Stories, old school.
Mm-hmm.
Powers of the Warlock number 12. And Power of the Warlock number 14. Invincible Iron Man Annual number 3. This is the X-Man thing. And then this is Giant Size Superheroes number 1. This is Morbius and Man-Wolf appear against the Spider-Man. That one might go off and get graded. But we also got, so this one's not for sale. I mean, it is for sale, but it's not really. It's kind of for sale. If you make me an offer, I'll sell it. But this is more or less our display piece.
It's an original. I mean, it's a reasonable offer too, not just my
don't
shoe.
just make me an offer, but yeah, reasonable offer. I'll think about. This is our custom cover that we did with Arvell Jones of Marvel Premiere number 21, first appearance of Misty Knight. This one is signed by Arvell. You can kind of see it because of the glare. Signed by Arvell 9/6. Silver Surfer number 14. This is the first time the Silver Surfer meets the Spider-Man. That was a what? A 7?
Mm-hmm.
7.0. This is 6.5, but this is Doctor Strange #1. It's the origin of the Silver Dagger. First Silver Dagger in Doctor Strange #1. Iron Man #128, Demon in a Bottle. This is the one where Tony Stark realizes he's Robert Downey Jr. No, this is the one where Tony Stark realizes he's an alcoholic and seeks help so that he can be better at being Iron Man. This is an 8.0. New Mutants #1, 8.0, signed, and the signature is verified by Bob McLeod. You can see the signature right there. Signed by Bob McLeod, verified 8.0. And Fantastic Four #1. This is the Bill Sienkiewicz store exclusive. Bill Sienkiewicz Doctor Doom cover. There we go. You can see it now if I held it way over there. There's really no good way to show you this.
Yeah.
But there we go. We'll tilt it like that. It's a 9.8 Bill Sienkiewicz Doctor Doom Virgin variant. It's pretty rare.
Mm-hmm.
Covered by Bill Sienkiewicz, and it's the Bill Sienkiewicz exclusive. 9.8. So those just came back from getting graded.
Okay.
Hey, Josh, don't ruin it for anybody, all right? I don't get to watch till tomorrow. All right? So, the last segment we're going to do is the last segment we always do, questions and answers. Do you have any questions for us to answer?
Right.
Would you like
A's
for us to talk about
Q's.
anything? So, yes.
If you have Q's.
Do you have any Q's for us to A? Questions for us to answer? Anything you want to ask us about, talk to us about?
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna just to give us something to talk about, and I just kind of had this thought on my head. If you could switch out one of the Best Picture nominees, who do you replace? What do you replace it with? Which one do you remove, and what do you replace it with? Because you've seen more movies than me.
Joker.
So you pull Joker.
The Ed Norton movie.
Okay. That was pretty easy for you.
Yeah. I don't think Joker deserves it. I don't think it was that good of a movie.
You haven't seen it, though, I thought.
Well, I think if you're going to make a movie and try and pass it off as a superhero movie, make a superhero movie.
Okay. If you're going to nominate a superhero movie, nominate it.
Nominate a superhero movie.
Okay.
I don't think that the Joker movie is as worthy as Edward Norton's movie. I think the big problem is that Edward Norton's movie didn't do as well because the world isn't ready for a autistic leading character in a movie.
Okay.
We had it in Rain Man, but that also had Tom Cruise.
Okay.
And Tom Cruise balances.
All right.
Or, as they like to say on my favorite television show right now, Kim's Convenience, which is now in its 4th season on the CBC, Tom Cruise.
All right. Any questions, guys?
Questions, comments, concerns?
I don't know that it's salty. I understand having seen the Joker movie, I don't know that it is worthy of a Best Picture. I think it's a good movie, and I think it's worth being noted, but I don't know that it's a Best Picture. I think Joaquin Phoenix does deserve his Best Actor for it.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I'll go with it.
Yeah.
He was
All right.
very good in it, so.
Since nobody has any questions for us to answer, nobody has anything for us to talk about here at the end, we are going to get out of here.
Yes,
Thank you for tuning in to News at the Nexus, episode 5. This will be available through midnight tonight, through 11:59 tonight, and then it will go away. But it will come back next Tuesday on YouTube and Podbean and our website, thenexus419.com.
Yes.
We will see everybody later.
Yes, we will.
I feel like I should be plugging something in the last seconds, but a week from yesterday, Monday the 20th, at 8 a.m., I will be live on 100.7 The Zone with Senior Pod, a.k.a. P-Pod, and Dirk the Haircut Manning.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. We'll be live in the 8 a.m. hour on 100.7 The Zone. So make sure you tune in for that.
Or make people at work listen to it again. Hold on.
It's true.
What day is it?
Monday.
The 20th?
Uh-huh.
I'm off work, so I probably won't even listen.
There you go. Oh. You should come. You're off work. You should come on.
Oh, come on.
Peapod, just letting you know. It's happening. This is my legal notice to Peapod. I'm bringing Amanda on the show. Bye.
Bye.